After this mom climbed into the crib with her baby, she shared the heartbreaking reason why. When one new dad returned home to find his wife curled up with their baby in her crib, he thought it was adorable. He was so enamored with the scene, in fact, he took a photograph of it to look back on in years to come. At the time, however, he had no idea of the heartbreaking reason behind his wife's actions. That woman is Dayna Mager, who had first met her husband Matt when she was just 12 years old. They'd become high school sweethearts and in 2010 eventually go on to tie the knot. Then in October of 2015, the couple from Ann Arbor, Michigan welcomed their first child, a girl named Luella. But Dayna's delivery was far from straightforward. Indeed, although she had once prayed for a natural birth, that wouldn't be her fate. After Dayna had spent 18 hours in labor, her body had begun to give out. As a result, her unborn baby's heart had started to weaken, and doctors duly rushed Dayna into theater to perform an emergency C-section. Dayna's unplanned cesarean left her feeling like a failure, however. She felt so down, in fact, that it affected her relationship with her husband and how she bonded with her child. But thanks to her family's support and her trust in God, she slowly began to heal. And Dayna even decided to post about her experiences as a new mom on her blog. Addressing her daughter in one doting post, she wrote, "Thank you for showing me that I'm enough for you, that mommy and daddy are enough, and that together in this moment our family of 3 is made complete with you." But eventually Dayna had to overcome a hurdle that a lot of new parents have to deal with. That is, facing leaving her child in the care of others in order to spend some quality time with her partner. And one of Dayna's first post-pregnancy dates with her husband came a few months after the birth. They'd left Luella in order to attend a worship concert. Going to that concert was a big step for Dayna. Little did she know, though, how much it would go on to affect her. Indeed, weeks later, when she went to see a screaming Luella in her cot, something that Dayna had heard at the concert struck her. So she climbed into the crib and snuggled up to her baby. Then when Matt returned home later that night, he found the pair cuddled up fast asleep. "It had been a really rough day and I just needed her to sleep," Dayna explained to Today in 2016. "I needed to rest. I climbed in there and she snuggled next to me and fell asleep." It later emerged that this was not the full story, however, but that came out in March of 2016 when Dayna shared the image on Facebook that her husband had snapped of herself and Luella in the crib. And alongside the photo, she explained the heartbreaking reason why she joined her baby in bed. It all came back to that night on which she and her husband had attended the worship concert. At that conference, a missionary shared his story, and it shook me to the core, Dayna subsequently explained on Facebook. "A moment that would forever be burned in my fragile, hormone-raging new mommy heart." That missionary was in an orphanage in Uganda, and he's been in many before, but this one was different, she continued. He walked into a nursery with over 100 filled cribs with babes. He listened in amazement and wonder as the only sound he could hear was silence. As a new mom, Dayna knew all too well how rare silence was in her own home, and she was only looking after one baby, not 100. And as it turned out, the lack of noise also surprised the missionary in the story too. As a result, he went on to ask his host why the orphanage was so quiet. But the lady's reply to the missionary was heartbreaking, and it would change Dayna's life forever. Her response to him is something I will never, ever forget. "This is my why moment," she wrote in her Facebook post. She looked at him and said, "After about a week of them being here and crying out for countless hours, they eventually stop when they realize no one is coming for them," Dayna continued. "They stop crying when they realize no one is coming for them. Not in 10 minutes, not in 4 hours, and maybe perhaps not ever." "I broke," she added. "I literally could have picked up pieces of my heart scattered on the auditorium floor. But instead it stirred in me a longing, a hunger, a promise in my spirit." That night, in fact, she returned home to Luella and vowed to always be there for her. We came home, and that night, as Luella rested in her tiny little 10-pound body against mine, and we rocked, I made a promise to her, Dayna revealed. A promise that I will always come to her. Always, at 2 a.m. when pitiful, desperate squeals come through a baby monitor, I'll come to her. As Dayna added that her dedication to Luella would be just as strong throughout the years, her first hurt, her first heartbreak will come to her, she wrote. We'll be there to hold her, to let her feel, to make decisions on her own, and we'll be there. We'll show her through our tears and frustrations at times that it's okay to cry, Dayna concluded. It's okay to feel, that we will always be a safe place, and we'll always come to her. And with that, the mom shared her post on social media. She could probably never have guessed the reaction that it would go on to receive, however. That's because in excess of 27,000 people have since shared Dayna's update. In addition, her words appeared to touch the hearts of many moms who left their comments below the post. Yet, while the response was overwhelming for Dayna, she was nonetheless happy to have affected so many people. "It's impacting people because of the heart of it," she later said. "You feel something when you look at it," she added touchingly. "It's helping us focus on the important role we can play in our children's lives, not being perfect, but knowing that our love is limitless." Please share this video with your friends below.